right, welcome in everyone. Welcome in. I hope you guys are all excited for some Great Ace Attorney Chronicles today. So we are going to be starting a new case today, and I am excited. It is the return of the Great Departed Soul. So all right, let's go ahead and get our intro going, and then we'll get started. So here we go. Greetings, friends, and welcome to Enigma Night Gaming. My name is Liara, and I will be your guide in today's adventure. Today we're playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and in today's episode, we're going to be starting a new case. Now, in our last episode, we had just wrapped up basically what was a memory of the second trial involving Soseki-san. And, well, at the end of that, there was more questions that were brought up. Things that we've been being hinted at all through these cases. Why was Sasato called back to Japan? Why does Soseki keep getting in trouble? And what is the deal with the Hound of the Baskervilles book? I don't know, but let's hop into today's case and see if we can get any kind of answers. All right. Time to start our new adventure, the return of the Great Departed Soul. Episode 3, The Return of the Great Departed Soul. And it's also got something to do with this London event, right?
The century great
right.
exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park.
All right. I'm so curious what's going on.
50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success.
Oh boy.
But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few were aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case.
Oh boy.
And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose
it's
high
on fire.
into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes' brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the crystal tower itself, brought the truth to light.
Oh boy. I'm very curious what this is going to be about.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car.
Oh boy.
Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies. And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future.
Oh boy.
First, a demonstration of my
is it going to be a bomb?
instantaneous kinesis machine.
Interesting. Kinesis machine, huh?
A man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location.
Okay, that sounds kind of unsafe. And also a little Charlie and the Chocolate Factory there.
Exactly as it was before.
X'd it out. You are a brave individual, sir. Brave indeed. It's been nice knowing you. He's just a little too excited.
In but a few moments from now, this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air.
Uh-huh.
To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you!
I'm curious to see how this will work. Yeah, I'm definitely skeptical here. This doesn't seem safe at all. He is too excited about this. Uh-oh, something's going wrong. Yeah, you never want to hear uh-oh when you're demoing a new scientific feature. 22nd October, 9:36 a.m. Sholmes' suite. Okay, Bruno, are you listening? Oh, sorry, what was that, Iris? What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast? No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again? Today's paper. It's full of the news about the Great Exhibition again. Ah, yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley? He seems very down too. Did you say something, Iris? Oh gosh, you're even more down. Everybody's like super depressed today. Did his violin get broken again? When did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo? Now he's like, I wasn't down. What are you talking about? I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together. What? Why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here, you know, because breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced, therefore, that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has, ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. Thanks again. his pile-on Ryunosuke Day. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now. 6 months? Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned. Oh, well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley? He's down again. Did you say something, Iris? Like I'm having deja vu again? Back to moping? Oh boy. And Iris is just like the ray of sunshine. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me. I know, and the Great Exhibition has opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together? I want to, of course I do, but I can't, not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all. So you're embroiled in some tricky case and you can't be distracted from? Is that it? I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Hurley. Is it more like you think you have to be called there because of a case? I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Okay. Well, let's see. Event 6 months ago. Tell us about that. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. And apparently it was being banned. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing. You have, haven't you, Bruno? Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room? And the notes about Sholmes' old cases? Brewing Iris's special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically, Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall. Lord Strongheart? Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could, and I can't do that just sitting around here. Alright, what about the Great Exhibition? What do you think about that? The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching. Oh, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons. Look down on... Do you mean those things fly? Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air. But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it at all. That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge. I suppose they might be. Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems to be very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it though. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are. Says the innocent 10-year-old girl. Right? There, every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. Okay, so we have the Great Exhibition newspaper. It contains various articles about the world-leading science and technology on show at the Great Exhibition being held in London. We'll have to check that out. Shadows cast behind? Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Maybe. Well, we'll check it out. What about your gloomy mood? Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it? Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening. You're acting very strangely, Hurley. What do you mean, Iris? Well, usually, the more mysterious and complicated a case is, the better Hurley's mood. Does that mean it's a very easy case? Is it really a case that's bothering you? Iris, please, you mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say, put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes. Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene. That was a deep sigh. Alright, let's check this newspaper. Maybe we'll get some clues there. So the front side is just about the Crystal Tower, right? Every article on the front page is news about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibits from around the globe. It's also positive and hopeful about the coming century. We must all go to see it properly before too long. Alright, so if that's the front side, the Reaper attacked? Really? So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there. Other than this rather gloomy looking one, that is. Lord Van Zeeks and compatriot cornered? Wait, what? What's the matter, Bruno? Exactly? The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zeeks. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. Does he know any more, I wonder? I don't know. Alright, is there anything else on this side? I think that was basically what we were supposed to find out. So let's see if... Alright, now let's ask him about the newspaper article. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zeeks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes, Prosecutor Barrick Von Zeeks. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruto? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Van Zeeks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He is quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. Oh my goodness. Is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zeeks hurt? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know? Well, in the article here it says, as to what of Lord Van Zeeks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow morning's edition. I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps? Maybe. We are already going to go see him. Maybe he can spare a little time for us? Well, I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes. Ha, you really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear old fellow. What? You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind, but now I'm wondering where you're going. Well then, see you later indeed. He's so weird. Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out of the door. My goodness. What in the world is she wearing? Alright then, Runo, let's get going. Oh, Iris? What are you wearing? I've got change to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me. What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court. Oh, well, that sounds fun too. You're going to take me there then. All right, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you? Of course. And after the Supreme Court, then we'll go see the great exhibition. Oh boy. All right. Is there anything else that we should examine here, I wonder? Let's see. What is this shoe from, I wonder? I do love a good fire in the colder months. Watching the flames flickering and dancing about is just so very relaxing. Cleaning out the chimney isn't so relaxing, though. No, getting covered in soot isn't my idea of fun. You know, Hurley decided he was going to clean it out himself last year. But you can guess what happened, can't you? He got himself stuck inside the flue. He's a very slim man, I admit, but there are limits to where a fully grown man can fit. Now every time he dozes off by the fire, he has nightmares about it. Okay. Have we looked at this necklace before? All these different pieces of evidence from cases that Mr. Sholmes has solved are pretty interesting. The trouble is, Hurley forgets things so quickly. He never remembers why these things are relevant. The other day, for example, he saw the orange pips that were there and decided to plant them in the garden. Pips. Yes, they've all sprouted now. We have 5 new little plants. Oh, well, I don't know what case they were from, but if Mr. Sholmes can get oranges to grow outside in England, he should change his profession. Has she got a new story on her board, I wonder? Ah, yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle. Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see, especially if it's cut with a rounded top. Oh, really? And this garnet was blue, was it? Well, that's the thing. They're usually red. No blue garnet has ever been discovered. Oh. Well then. So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case. A proper Sherlock Holmes conundrum, huh? Alright, let's go ahead and move on to see Lord Chief Justice, right? Alright, we'll head on over here. He's going to be so concerned with his time. 22nd October, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. Iris is just like, I'm just having fun reading. It doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there. Lovely. Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here. Of course. I was forgetting you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. When Susato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. Yup. I understand you wish to speak with me. Oh, Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well? He's like, tick tick. Let's see, since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies. Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Oh boy. Male Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. Oh, I've not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. I mean, he's not wrong. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it. Well, it's nice to know where I stand. So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens. Bruno, just take a deep breath and come out with it. Alright, let's talk to him. Let's try and get permission to work first. I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Here it comes. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Shogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him. His calling, as you say. Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged, what do you suppose it really was? What do you mean, mission? He's not making any sense. I think this is related to how we found his name in the music box of State Secrets. He was involved in something, but what? Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean... Yay! As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain. Alright. Thank you so much. That's wonderful news, Bruno. In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope? Of course. Please tell me more. What is this curious affair? You described it as a curious affair. Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no? Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see, how was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think. Instantaneous kinesis? As in moving things with the click of the fingers? That's right. It's just what my herbal blend needs, a dash of devil may care. Whatever the serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage, and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Essman, an investor and well-known figure in society. A large explosion? A man died? The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. Okay, that's an accurate last name. I'll give you that one. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow on the charge of murder. What? Murder? If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation. The Great Exhibition, a scientific experiment gone wrong, and murder? I fell out of my depth before I've even started. Still. We should go to the prison straight away then and try to meet with this German professor, don't you think? Definitely. Before we go, though... yes, one more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper. Oh? With Lord Van Zeeks? How? Alright, let's find out about the Forensic Science Symposium. All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium. It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Exactly. What's going on here? London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible. Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it? Exactly. The future of policing. He's all shocked. Like, everyone's gonna accept stuff that Sholmes does. Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods. Oh dear, that's alarming. Exactly. It's extremely alarming. She just keeps screaming. She's so easily shocked. If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure that the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim. Sorry? By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail every one now. What? Oh, how fascinating. It all began 15 years ago. I was... He's just talking and we're just like, our brain has shut off. It's like, head empty, no thoughts. We're just like, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter, in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division with Scotland Yard. That is my mission. Oh, right. Yes, that's wonderful. Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be. Iris is just like, I got bored. Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. I mean, I'm pretty sure we dozed off there, so I don't think we could say we were paying attention either. Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful? I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. All right, so I guess that was everything. Unless, we can't present the newspaper article to him. So I guess that's everything. Oh, we can present it. Can we present the newspaper article to him? What happens? Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition, of course. No, not that. The story on the back page. Oh, what story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not? Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he? There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you. Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know. Very well. If it interests you. It does, strangely. Alright, let's see. Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter. But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know? It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money? A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchman certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman, Mr. Odie Asman. Did you say Asman? That's the person we have to go defend, right? Oh, no. Oh, that was the murder victim. That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition. Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization. Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart? Try me. Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom, and fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something's clearly going on here. I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. And secondly, any deaths or criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him. That doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died, if not by someone's hand? Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Oh boy. So it's just all coincidental evidence then? Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. We had a lot of time with him. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget. Maybe just a little bit. 11 hours? That's quite something. That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh, yes. Where would I find Lord Van Zieks now? Is he going to be in the hospital? I would assume he's at his office. Right. I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I'll want to get this straight from the horse's mouth. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands. Of course. Yes. Thank you very much, my lord. Professor Harebrain. What a name. My goodness. Alright, let's go ahead and I think let's visit the prison first. And let's go talk to Professor Harebrain. Boy. 22nd of October, local prison cell 11. The warden said cell 11. That's the one. This one. Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner. Look. What's his name again? Professor Albert Harebrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Harebrain. He's like all shocked. Who are you? I'm Ryuna Sokinar. Hold on, a lawyer? Was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here, about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration. That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity. Oh boy. Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while too. Alright, let's talk to him. Alright, so tell us about yesterday's demonstration. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday. The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he? Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure, but at the same time, it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Asman was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Asman in fact perished? Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is, the large explosion that killed Mr. Asman was an accident, correct? But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder. I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. But... Murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident, simply an accident. I see. Harley and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder. How exactly? Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody. On what grounds? Ah, yes. It's newly established here in Britain, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. That one passed me by. But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pore over it as much as they'd like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident to tomorrow's trial. Ah, I see now. Alright, what is this whole instantaneous kinesis thing? So, in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday. Yes, or rather, no. The devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion. Sounds the same to me. You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating. Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible, using a sufficiently high voltage, to break these bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see. That's my amazing hypothesis. Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science. Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream such incredible technology. Just think. One moment I could be here in this cell, and the next I could be at the Great Exhibition again. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in a mere blink of an eye, I could be at a Grand Parisian theater. Say, the possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet will be within reach. So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days? Throwback to our second case? I don't really see it like that. What do you mean, Iris? Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. My word, that's exactly right. What are the implications? What does this mean? Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the looks of it. Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works, but without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? So tell us about him. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odi Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. I just have to say laboratory like the evil scientist. He wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then. Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel, even? He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for the presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Osmond. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. All right, I don't know that the paper is relevant, so let's see. I mean, we could try it, but I don't know that it's relevant. Are we able to present anything? We could try it. I don't know that it's relevant, though. How could this have happened? You must feel awful. As well as a man losing his life, the Crystal Tower was greatly damaged, too. I know what happened. It must have been that. That? The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is. For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Alright. Well, I guess we're going to move to the prosecutor's office for now. And see if we can talk to Lord Van Zeeks. 22nd of October, prosecutor's office. Oh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office. Yes, it appears so. He's got his nice little collection of wine and wine glasses. That's important for as many as he breaks. Brr, it sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere. Oh, is that... hello? That hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. What are you doing here? It's Lord Van Zeeks. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. I am. Although I have to admit, his office has a surprising amount of sunlight coming in for a vampire, but you know, we'll let that one slide. So, who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other? No punishment is taking place here. Oh? What is that? That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. I mean, it did mention it. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. I think he's wearing a mask. He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers? The Reaper. I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming, that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Okay, last night's attack. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? True, carried out by henchmen of Ori Osmond's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably, some hoped to kill me before that happened. Ori Osmond. He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means via criminal activities. And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper. But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances, it was a most unusual cause of death. I know about that. It was super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Asmund died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion. Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you? Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death at least. It's strange how this has worked out, isn't it, Bruno? I mean, what with you taking on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow? What? You're going to be defending him? Oh, yes, that's right, though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest. Albert Harebrain. That's right. Do you know him by any chance? Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together. You're... What? Your contemporary. Okay. I'd understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though. Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out his research, that's all. So, you were students together? I was in the Faculty of Law, of course, and he in Science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you, of all people, representing him. Ugh, only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems. Yes, I know, because the prosecution will be handled by me. By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends. We are friends, it's true. Then why would you do this? If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed. He's just like, please. What's Lord Ventig's thinking? Alright, what about the Reaper's identity? What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean... I'm a crown prosecutor, and a mortal like any other. I'm no demigod. But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal. Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them. But that's not true of Mr. Natsumi, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all. Nor was Jenny. In fact, she's ever so hardworking now. I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work. Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way. But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true. I mean, yeah. The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially. Oh. It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives. Do you mean to say... I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor. But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed. If that is my fate, let God decide. Lord Van Zeeks. Wow. Okay. Let's see if he has any thoughts about the paper. Lord Van Zeeks, about the article in this paper. Ah, yes. It seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me. It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you had run away, though. Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them. But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. That would be the assistant, right? And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it? As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice. Alright, sorry about that. Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him? Alright, you're apprentice. He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose. Ah, like you are to Hurley then, Runo. I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective. He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack. It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask. On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity. But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual? Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions. I hope you're right. Boy. He's so quiet. The task is complete. Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs. Alright. He's gonna do what he needs and then skedaddle. Gives us a evil side eye. Nice to meet you. We just get the silent treatment. Oh man. Back to work again. That was really strange though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it. Oh, I see. Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway? Oh, no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to. The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. Boy, it couldn't be. Wait a second. Maybe we do know him. Maybe we have a murder that wasn't really a murder? I don't know. Yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, what's that? That Nipponese man, is he faring well? Sorry? The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago, with the stoop, and the mustache, and the jitters. Ah, Mr. Natsumi, you mean? I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo. I mean, but it's true. He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day. I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it in investigating the case. Yes, thank you for the advice, and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Saseki-san, after a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried. I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? And that's a turn up for the books. Mad scientist? Ah, you mean Professor Hairbrain? Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. Interesting. Alright. I'm curious what happens if we try and talk to him. Oh, he's gone now? Okay, so we can't actually... Oh, wait, no, he's right there. Can we talk to him? It really looks like a punishment to me. I've never seen someone sitting like that before. He hasn't moved a muscle since we arrived. Do you think perhaps he's dead? If he was dead, Runo, he wouldn't be sitting up, would he? Well, anyway, dead or alive, he's not overly approachable, is he? I don't think he's going to talk to us. He's not dead. He's not dead, but he's sitting in a very suspiciously Japanese sort of way. Really makes you wonder? I'm curious. We've got the world exhibit over here. Oh, look! It's a scale model of the Great Exhibition Showground. That's amazing. I wonder why it's here. Perhaps he made it to take his mind off the sadness of being too busy to attend in person. Or perhaps he's too embarrassed to queue up for a ticket. Surely, it's obvious that I'm using it as an investigative aid. I mean, that would have been my guess, to be honest. Ah. You Nipponese have no business painting others as overly reserved. Ugh, I really didn't think he'd overhear that. Because there's that, right? Oh, okay. What about anything else? What is this? He's got... There's all of his wine, right? Look at all those ancient casks lining the wall there. Cask in the Reaper's chamber. Or are they caskets? It's just casks. You don't think all those people who escaped conviction in court are lying inside them dead, do you? What ridiculous notions are going through your head, man? This is my collection of fine vintages. Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for clearing that up. Runo and I were just musing to ourselves. Don't mind us, Mr. Reaper. I wouldn't if you hadn't invited yourselves to my office to talk nonsense within my earshot. I mean, he's not wrong, to be perfectly honest. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's skip this. He's gonna, like... Alright, come on, come on. Skip, skip, skip. Alright. We've got this painting up here. It's a grand portrait. That portrait really dominates the room, doesn't it? It's a very majestic outfit and pose, but sadly, whoever painted it didn't do a very good job of capturing Lord Van Zieks' facial features. Unless it's not supposed to be him. Yes, you're right. I mean, it's not far off, but the artist has exaggerated his subject's handsomeness, I think. That reminds me. I heard Emperor Napoleon of France ordered artists to make him look more attractive when they painted him. How vain. That's really not an attractive quality in a person, is it? That portrait does not depict me. Surely, that's immediately obvious. Oh, then who is it? Is it like his father or something? He doesn't even say, but it's obviously not him. And we got a chess set here. Lord Van Zeek's desk. Look, it's so stylish. And that's marble chess set behind it. Chess. That's the Western version of our Japanese shogi game, isn't it? You know, I'm actually quite good at shogi problems. Oh, really? You'd probably like chess problems in that case. I'd love to challenge Lord Van Zeek sometime. To a bout of shogi problems. If you only really want to challenge yourself, you can always do that on your own at home. I mean, yeah. We got all of his wines. Look at that fine collection of hallowed chalices and bottles neatly lined up there. My hallowed bottles are filled with the essence of the finest grapes from the finest vineyards I visit. And I personally oversee these chalices being made by the finest crystal craftsmen in the world. And yet you throw them around in court like they were worthless. Yes, because this imbecile is so unimaginably and repeatedly wide of the mark sometimes. Oh. Before you open your mouth next time, you should consider the poor artisans whose work you defile. So, it's my fault? Silly me. How could I have ever thought otherwise? Whoops. Okay, what else do we got? Anything else of interest? I think that's about it. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back to the prison and let's ask Professor Hairbrain about his relationship with Van Zeek's, the Reaper's varsity years. I understand Lord Van Zeek's is a friend of yours from your university days. Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was there. What was he like back then? A good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, an all-around nice fellow, really. Okay. Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Barrack Van Zeeks. What was he like when he was at university? Talk about a leading question, Bruno. As I said, he's an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is a little darling of the Van Zeeks family, with all its great aristocratic origins. I didn't realize he had quite such noble blood. Little darling. It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less. Yes, that's right. I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation. Really? What sort of event? I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already. Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zeeks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. Oh boy. It's going to be an interesting surprise there. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying? You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work, is that correct? As correct as 2 squared is 4. I swear it. Yes, it's true that the man perished in a machine of my invention. So I know that I'm far from blameless in all this, but still, I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life, not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science, it's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that all my life. I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your theories, but I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please. When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage. None of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything. Thank you for that, Professor. And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court. All right, Bruno. It's time. Time to visit the Great Exhibition. Sorry? Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it? Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. Oh boy. But we are going to save our investigation for the next episode. This is really turning out to be an interesting case. So it seems clear-cut from the start that it wasn't intentional. So I'm very curious what sort of theories are going to be thrown around in court to try and prove that this was murder. Like, is there going to be some hidden secret that's going to come to light that we're going to have to defend? I don't know. But we will figure all that out and more in the next episode. So if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. If you want to watch live, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/Leara27. I have my schedule posted in the about and in the description. And if you want to see which games we're playing each day, I post them on x.com/Leara27. And I hope you'll join me in the next one. Until then, guys, bye. All right, let's go ahead and give this a quick save. Alright. And then we will start our investigation next time. But that is going to be all for today, guys. So, I hope that you had fun. I had a lot of fun. I really like these games. I mean, it does a number on my voice sometimes, but it's still a lot of fun. And I really like them, so... let's see. I'm trying to see who we can raid. Look and see who is on and what all they're playing. But we will be back here tomorrow, by the way, at 3 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be playing some World of Warcraft and King's Quest 3. So that's what the plan is there. Let us see. Who can we raid? Trying to see what all everyone is even doing. There's some interesting new games going on. Let's see if we can find someone new. I don't even know. Alright, let's just look. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of people on at the moment. Who do we want to raid? I don't even know what some of these games are. Alright. Okay, let's give Rook Rolls a follow. This is, I think this is somebody that we met through another raid, but they're playing, I'm not sure what this is exactly, but anyways, we'll go say hi to them. I'm trying to see what it says. I3Z, but I don't know if that's like the name of the game or what, or maybe I don't know, but we're gonna go say hi anyways. I hope that you guys will be back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central. Thank you everybody who stopped by. I appreciate you. It was a lot of fun, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So until then.